Thank you very much. Prashant, welcome to Rising Bharat Summit. Such a pleasure to speak to you. And the session's on family business. But before I come to that, it's been such a roller coaster ride for Essar Group in the last decade. You've had your shares of ups and downs. But as you look at Essar today, are you happy at where you are and what are the plans going forward?
First of all, thank you for having me here. Yeah, I mean, it's been, you can say we've had a fair share of ups and downs, but that's how a journey of 50 years or 55 years is, because the group was founded in 1969, and I think most groups go through a period of ups and downs in a journey. The good news is that we are at a stage now where, frankly, the environment which we are in right now is extremely positive. And the things which our group has been known for, or our strengths, is what is in demand. For many years, the commodity businesses, whether it is energy or whether it was infrastructure or whether it was metals and mining, things which we do well, we think we do it well, we were a little bit getting left behind. Those sectors were not getting invested in. Everybody felt that energy transition is something which we've adopted, but that will take over and leave behind a lot of these other sectors. That's completely changed, and globally there is a huge resurrection and demand for energy, whether it is power, whether it's oil, whether it's gas, and along with the new energies, along with renewable power and other things. And so we find ourselves at a place where we can really contribute with our strength in building assets and bringing it up to scale and making them operational. So I think overall, I think we're in a good place.
Great. So, keeping with Rising Bharat, you see a rising SR going forward. But which vertical are you going to bet big on? Because you're a pretty diversified conglomerate now, from energy to metals and mining to infrastructure to technology. What are you going to invest behind? Energy transition has been a big theme for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So energy transition is a huge theme for us across the group. But as we all know, last few years, last I would say 1 year since President Trump has actually come, there has been a little bit of a pullback on the scope and scale of energy transition. I think there's been there's a clear requirement for green technologies, but green technologies which are economically viable is where the world is moving to, including countries like Europe, including in Europe and the US, which were really at the forefront of these investments. So we are investing obviously in energy transition, but in the energy space, there's a significant investment in the UK, where we are this 20% supplier of oil and gas, of fuel for the UK economy, with a refinery there, and we are investing in a hydrogen, I would say one of the world's largest hydrogen plants for the UK. It's 350 megawatt plant. It's a big investment. And so that's in the energy side. We are also in building biofuels in India.
And you also have a big refinery coming up in Jamnagar, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a biofuel. Well, it's a biofuel refinery focused on making sustainable aviation fuel. And then we've got oil and gas, which is our traditional business in the energy space. Infrastructure is pretty standard. We're in the power sector, port sector, and our group actually started as a construction business. So EPC is something which we do, and really one of our strengths, I would say. And then in technology side, very interesting. Couple of company in the US which is doing network infrastructure, black box. We're actually building data centers for the likes of Google or Microsoft or people like that, and managing their network. So it's a really booming industry, booming space in the US right now. And also we're doing green mobility for India. And finally, metals and mining, we've got a major investment in the US in Minnesota. So diversified group of companies, but all of which seem to be in the right place at the right time.
Right. What opportunities do you see in terms of data centers? Because it plays into two of your verticals, which is infrastructure and energy. So do you see yourself playing a big role in building out some of these data centers for technology companies?
Absolutely. So that's data centers, and the way I would look at it, data centers really has two parts. One part is the infrastructure. There's a huge demand for additional power and additional, infrastructure to power these data centers. So, I mean, there was one estimate in the US where they need 120 gigawatts of new power
Wow.
just to power the AI data centers. And that's only in the US. And then you add it up across all the countries, there's a huge growth of demand for power. And so we are basically picking up digital infrastructure as a theme. And we are actually we're proposing to build a data center infrastructure in the UK, where we are wanting to develop a 1 gigawatt data center. And there, the primary focus for us is to build the power, generate the power, and provide the buildings and infrastructure. And then the Microsofts of the world or Googles of the world will come in and make the investment in the computers and
Right.
the chips. And then we're doing something similar here. We've also signed for a data center in Mumbai and in Delhi. So
Right.
it's certainly a space of growth for us.
Right. Prashant, I should ask you, geopolitics has been such a dominant topic in the last year. As a business leader running a company or a group with operations around the world, split between UK, India, and other markets, has your blood pressure been okay? Looking at all the discussions around, trade deals and what the relationships between countries, when they patch up, when they break up.
Well, there's certainly been a lot of uncertainty. I don't think it's affected our blood pressure that much, but uncertainty has been there. But I think, if you think about what the West is doing increasingly, is basically, something which, frankly, India has done for a long time, or in the emerging markets,
Which
people
is
have done for a long time.
imposing custom
Which is
duty.
imposing an import tariff. I mean, it's something which we are not used to because they've never done it for the last 40, 50 years, but it's not a concept which is alien to us in India. And the fact of the matter is that the cost of manufacturing in the developed world is much more than the cost of manufacturing in emerging world, and including India. And ultimately, I think they've realized that, manufacturing locally needs to be provided with some level of protection to not actually protect, but to ensure that the local manufacturing is more competitive. So that's the concept with which they are trying this. Obviously, Europe is not there yet, but the debate is there very much. After what's happening in America, there is a debate around, what is the best way to ensure that you continue to have a manufacturing base in these countries.
Right. Since the theme was on family businesses, I should ask you, there is this, I won't say belief, but there is a statistic that by the time you reach the third generation, that's when things start to get tricky. Now, your father, his brother started up Essar. You took it forward. I remember you started on the shop floor at 15. Is it hard to get your kids to be part of the group? Because a lot of Gen Z or Gen Alpha, next gen kids like to run family offices these days.
It's a very good question. I mean, look, at least for us at SR and our family, we've been very fortunate that we're still a joint family. My father, my uncle built the whole business, and our second generation, I'm along with my brother and my uncle's children, Smriti and Revant and Shuman. So we've been really together forever, really. I think the third gen is just getting in now.
And have you inducted them into the Marwadi School of Management?
My father tried to put them through Marwadi School of Management. It didn't work. They all went overseas. They did their education overseas, but they've come back and now they are. Some of them are part of the business. Some of them are doing things on their own. But I think the requirement to keep them engaged. I think this is a real key point. Is you need to get them engaged and liking what they are doing. Because if they are not excited about what they are doing, it's very difficult to get them involved in the family business. It doesn't matter which the business is. And then to get them engaged, I think having a little bit more of the newer technologies or cutting edge, sustainability, energy transition, these are the kind of things which still excite them.
Right.
So so I think if you want the next gen to be in business, it has to be for them interesting for them enough to get involved. But
Right.
once they get involved, then I think then it's fair game. I don't believe that everybody wants to be family office. It's many do. I'm not saying no, but I think there's also a case to be made that you can get them involved in the business, and get them, and then once they are involved, then it's on. There are many examples of that too, along with the family
Right.
office examples. So let's see. Time will tell. Our third gen is just getting involved. They just started working in the last couple of years. Till now, with things going well, but I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future.
There have also been instances where there have been very bitter fights in family-owned businesses. Again, have you come up with a formula to navigate that?
Look, I mean, that's very individual. I do believe, look, I think the primary thing about family business is still 70% of businesses globally are still managed by families. It's a very, people generally get a feeling that, family business going down and, the MNCs and professionals growing up. I'm not saying that's not happening, but still 70%, including in the US, is still family run. So I think this tradition is going to continue. Entrepreneurship, which is having a little bit more of a longer term view, I think is still going to stay very much with families. They bring that to the table. And if we can marry the entrepreneurship along with creating the right governance for business, I think it's a deadly combination. If you can get both going, then it's a perfect mix, where you get the strengths of entrepreneurship, and yet you get the strengths of professional, all the governance, all of that. So that's at least what we're trying to do. I mean, I think generally the younger generations are less tolerant, if you want me to say that. But that's what you have to inculcate, or that's the culture which you have to bring up in the children. So I think I would not want to get into individual issues, but I think it's still a tradition which can be held and which can be a tremendous strength for any country or the country.
Great. On that note, thank you very much, Prashant. This is an amazing conversation. A huge round of applause for
Thank
Prashant
you very much.
Ruia of Essar Group.